Hello, fam, and welcome back to another edition of George's Corner. I'm your host, George Lee Jones. Let's get started. I want to talk to you today about something that's very important. I've had a few conversations with people who have said to me that, hey, I've been thinking positively, I've been trying to manifest certain things in my life, and it seems to me that manifestation has become a huge word for a lot of people. And I want to help you with this the best way I possibly know how. And again, it's just my personal perspective. And that is, you need to get your head and your heart in alignment with your desire, okay? Because your desires are wrapped up in your imagination. Case in point, I think this will help you. If you want a house and you can't seem to envision that house, why don't you go to a couple of open houses in the neighborhood that you like to live in? Go into that place, walk from room to room, imagine yourself there. Get the feeling of already living there, even though you're not, and you can carry that energy back home with you. And that's going to help you with your visualization of whatever you're trying to manifest. If it's a car, think of the car that you want. Go to that dealership. I don't mean test drive it because they're going to run you credit and all that other stuff, but just sit in the car. Imagine you driving down whatever place it is. Just use your imagination because you can take those thoughts and feelings back home with you and then congruently get your head and your heart together and feel as if you're already living that experience. And the universe and creation will work towards the desires of your heart, okay? I wanted to express that to a lot of you because a lot of you walk around with a lot of frustration. And as I've said before to you, whatever you're feeling will only expand. And as my grandmother used to say, if you pay it no mind, it'll die. So if it's something negative in your life, pay it no mind, it'll die. But constantly keep yourself focused. Focus like those guard dogs that regardless of whether you jump at them or you scream at them, they don't flinch. You know why? Because they're not distracted. And we've talked about this before. Stop listening at the people or to the people who are on your left and right trying to give you information about their personal journeys when it's not yours. If you want to find out about your personal journey, take the time to meditate, to sit alone and listen again to the spirit inside of you. Okay? That's one thing. Now, I want to give you a personal story about manifestation, okay? Because I realize that stories help people understand things better. A number of years ago, I came home to a wonderful apartment that I live in, or lived in rather, and there was a sign on the door that said 3 days or quit. Now, for those of you that don't know and never had apartments and you've been blessed enough to either be rich or live in a house all your life, what that means is that you have 3 days to pay the rent that's due, or quit means they're going to move you out, okay? So let that digest for a second. I know that I've always been paying my rent on time, but my roommate, who was paying his rent, so I thought, was not. He happened to have a substance issue that I didn't know about. And so at first I was livid about it. Now I got on the phone. I called my father. I never forget this story. I called him to tell him about the circumstance I found myself in and everything that was going on. And these words he said to me, I never forget. He said, son, I have every confidence in you that you'll figure this out. I was pissed. I wanted this dude to offer me some money. He didn't. In hindsight, what I realized is after I hung up the phone in anger and disgust was that I never even asked him for assistance. I just told him my problem. So I couldn't hold him at fault for not offering me something I didn't ask for. What it also reminded me of was this. A couple days prior to that, I was telling him about some issues that I was having and that I was thinking about, I just want to move back home. I said, it's just too tough out here. I can't handle it. And this is what he said to me. He says, never make a decision in the midst of a storm. Always wait till that storm passes through so that you have clarity of mind and make a decision then. He says, because it's too easy to just call it quits when things are tough. He says, if you want to stop whatever you're doing, stop it when you're in a better place so that you can make a very intelligent decision about whatever it is you're going through. And it just reminded me of something I read recently saying that if you constantly find yourself in a situation where you're being beleaguered or you're battled all the time and you want to quit, you'll find yourself in the valley way more than you find yourself at the peak of the mountain, which is the goal. You always want to be at the peak of the mountain and not in the valley. So with that being said, I wanted to share that story with you because a few days later, I went to my mailbox. Now, mind you, I only had 3 days or I had to leave. I won't say that I manifested it in a way that I was thinking about the money, the money, the money. I was thinking about a bigger picture. I don't want to get kicked out of my place. So my focus was on how can I not get kicked out of my place? Not on how much money can I get. That was irrelevant because my why was that I needed to stay where I was living. Literally, I kid you not, 2 days later I go to my mailbox, there's a check in the mail. I won't say what it was for. However, I called the number on the check to make sure that the check was for me. And it was. They verified it and everything. I cashed the check, I paid the rent. I got to stay in my place. Here's the thing I want to tell you. If you get really, really firm on your why and not just general about I want money, I want riches, but the reason behind why you want those things from an authentic perspective and not just to have it because you want to be a hoarder, but because you're going to put it to good use, you'll find things in your life will start working in a way to satisfy your why. I just wanted to tell you guys that because I'm sure each and every one of you can go through a past situation where you felt that it was, again, darkest before the dawn, and all of a sudden, the clouds went away, the rain went away, and you saw sunshine, and you were blissful, but somehow you forgot the process of what got you to the bliss. Think about that. Because each and every one of you has had great situations in your life. And I know a lot of you are sitting in there going, I got nothing but bad. But trust me, everybody in life has their peaks and their valleys. It's all up to you of how you're going to respond to those situations. And yes, I said respond, not react. Okay? That's all I wanted to say to you today because I thought that was important because I'm talking to a lot of people who are all about this manifesting or manifestation of life. Here's the thing. Keep your mind focused. Stop being distracted. Stop asking other people about advice for your life and start asking you what's best for you. Because your Creator gave you all the tools you need not to look outside of a box, not to be put in a box, but to simply be, exist, and think. Okay? That's all. I got one tip for you before I go, and that is I ran into a guy today. He goes, man, it looks like you look younger every time I see you. And this is what my response was. God is my witness. Optimism has great restorative properties. I'll say that one more time. Optimism has great restorative properties. If you're constantly keeping yourself upbeat, you're focusing on the things you want in life from a positive place, you don't let negativity in your life, you don't let toxic people in your life, it'll show on your face. Again, optimism has great restorative properties, okay? I'm gonna go, but remember, love yourselves, be great and kind to others because kindness always wins. And oh yes, always, always be learning something new. Till next time, fam, I'm your host, George Lee Jones. Love you. Peace.